Okay, guys, let's talk about Nope. This is the 2022 film written and directed by Jordan Peele. This is his third film. Obviously, he's most famous for Get Out and Us. This one, he reconnects with Daniel Kaluuya as OJ Hayward, co-starring Keke Palmer, Stephen Yeun, Brandon Perea, and Michael Wincott. The general premise for this film is, quote, after random objects falling from the sky result in the death of their father, ranch-owning siblings OJ and Emerald Haywood attempt to capture video evidence of an unidentified flying object with the help of a tech salesman and a documentarian. So, one thing you need to know is that there is a social commentary element to it. It's just not race-based as Us and Get Out was. So don't look for it to be like, in a weird way, like sort of a cousin to those movies or some sort of overall narrative between those three films. It's not. But there certainly is a narrative to discuss. But I won't give that away. I'll let you guys figure that out as you watch it. But look, the film is pretty darn good. Like it's pretty good. The beginning is a little slow to kind of establish what's happening. Then once we kind of establish kind of all of the major players of the film, by maybe halfway through the first act, all the stage is kind of set, and then things start moving. Once they start moving, it kind of moves at a clip. It was actually kind of nice. It's only 135 minutes, so just a little over 2 hours, but it doesn't feel like wasted time. What I liked about this movie is it is Jordan Peele, him taking on this sort of UFO encounters type of film. We've kind of all seen those type of films before, or at least know of them. They were kind of really popular in the sort of like the 1950s and things like that. And this is sort of his take on that. What does that look like through the eyes of these minority characters, that these two black young ranchers and this East Asian former child actor, now sort of runs this sort of like southwestern kind of little kid park right near them. And so what is their perspective on seeing this UFO and having to quote unquote interact with it? It's an interesting film. I really liked it. If you're not used to those sort of like UFO style films, like it feels weird, like and it's supposed to, right? Because it's shot in this sort of desolate part of California. And there are not a lot of actors in it, right? There's only really 5 main sort of named characters, maybe 6 if you count the father. But he's only in it in the very beginning. So it's a bottle film. Both in sort of narratively, it's very small and tight and like location wise, but also in the amount of actors, right? Like that's the most obvious part. But when the UFO shows up, it feels huge, right? Like it feels like, whoa, this must be a part of this like larger world because this thing exists and like clearly that's not from around here, right? So it has an ability to feel very small and very expansive all at the same time. There's a couple shots in this movie that I think are phenomenal. Just kind of these still shots that Peele does that just really stand out. You'll know it when you see it kind of thing. I won't give that away. The idea of these ranchers' perspective in life and like what they do and how that connects to them dealing with this UFO is really interesting, right? And then what does that mean for some of the other characters in the movie and their life experience of what it means to deal with certain things and like how that connects back to the UFO is the real kind of kicker of it, right? Because there's one very specific sort of setup that doesn't feel like it makes any sense until maybe in the back half of the movie, and you go, okay, I got it. Like that's interesting. That's how he makes sort of that connection and like what that means. I would be very interested to hear Peele's like where this idea came from, because I have my guesses, but it's interesting. Like it's a conversation about a lot of things, but something I would not have thought Peele would have gone into exactly. So I don't want to give too much away, which is why I feel like I'm saying kind of nothing, but that's kind of on purpose. I don't want to give it away, but it's very good. I give it a 4.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. It's got a decent creep factor. Again, Peele's ability to use like music that you know and make it twisted and weird and very uncomfortable definitely happens. There's a really good use of music in one scene that just feels very off. Like it's not cool, man. It just feels really, really creepy. But he does a really good job. All the performances are great. Daniel Kaluuya, Keke Palmer, were specifically very, very good as the brother and sister, where, Kaluuya is playing a very stoic, sort of cowboyish, character. And Keke Palmer's character is a little bit more like, sort of modern age, like I live in the city kind of thing, right? So you got this sort of urban versus rural kind of perspective, but obviously they care about each other and like they try to take care of each other and do right by each other, but they feel like there's a through line, between the two of them, obviously, because they grew up together, but they're like at weird ends of the spectrum of like what it is to like sort of be American, right? Like they come from two different worlds, but they have to kind of come together for this ultimate goal. Steven Yeun is really good. He's having a great last 2 years. It's been pretty awesome to watch, and he's very good in this. It's a little slow to pick up in the beginning, but once it gets moving, it really does go pretty fast. Like I said, it doesn't feel rushed at any point. Just that the narrative like really is like jumps into full gear. So look, if you like Jordan Peele's films, I think he's 3 for 3. I think Nope is as good of a Peele movie and perspective as Get Out and Us was. There's a lot here, and I feel like much like his last 2 films, there's going to be a lot to discuss about this film and what he was trying to get at and what is the overall social commentary or narrative for years to come after this film comes out. So check out Nope. It is in theaters this weekend, and we will see you guys next time.